Imagine you wake up tomorrow and there is no money in the world, no wallet in your pocket, no apps on your phone showing balances, no price tags on bread, clothes, or petrol, no bank alerts, no how much do you earn, questions at family gatherings, just you, the people around you, the things you need, and the sky above Abadad, turning from dark to soft gold as the sun comes up. How would the day go? Would people stop eating? Would houses fall apart? Would children go without school books? Or would something quieter and warmer happen instead? Most of us have been told one simple story since we were small. Long ago, people had things they didn't need and needed things they didn't have. So they bartered. I give you my extra goat for your pair of shoes. But bartering was hard because maybe you didn't want shoes right then, or the goat was worth more than the shoes. So someone clever invented money. Shells, metal pieces, coins, paper notes, and suddenly everything became easy. Trade exploded. Civilizations grew. We all got richer. That story sounds clean and smart. It's in almost every school book. It's what we repeat when someone asks, how did trade even start? But the deeper truth, the one anthropologists, old villagers, and people who still live close to the earth have known for a very long time, is softer, kinder, and honestly more beautiful. Before money became the main way people got what they needed, most humans did not barter everything. They gave, they shared, they helped, they remembered. And because they remembered, they trusted. And because they trusted, communities felt safe in a way many of us today quietly miss. Let us walk back together, slowly, and see what that world really looked like, not through complicated books, but through simple human moments that feel familiar even now. Picture a small group of people, maybe 20 or 30, living near a river or in open grassland thousands of years ago. They move camp when the animals move or when the berries finish. They carry very little: a digging stick, a spear, baskets made from plant fibers, babies tied to mothers' backs. One morning a woman finds a huge beehive in a hollow tree. She calls softly. Everyone comes. They light a small, smoky fire to calm the bees. They climb carefully. They bring down golden combs dripping with honey. Children's eyes go wide. Adults laugh. That evening, everyone sits in a circle around the fire. The honey is passed from hand to hand. Sticky fingers, happy faces. No one says, I found it, so I get double. The woman who found it eats the same amount as everyone else. She does not keep a secret stash for tomorrow. Why? Because tomorrow someone else might find roots, or catch fish, or spot a herd of deer. Today, she shares freely. Tomorrow, the circle turns, and someone shares with her. That feeling of we carry each other was normal. If a hunter came back empty-handed 3 days in a row, no one said, you are lazy, go hungry. Others gave him meat from their share. If a woman's child was sick and she needed to stay close, someone else fetched water and firewood for her. No one kept score. The memory of kindness was the score. Children grew up watching this. They saw mothers divide the last handful of nuts so every child got some. They saw fathers lend a spear to a young man going on his first hunt. They felt it in their bones. When you have, you give. When you need, others give to you. It made the world feel less scary. Now, let us move forward a little, to settled villages where people grew crops, kept goats, built round houses of mud and thatch. Maybe 5,000 years ago, in places like the hills around what is now Pakistan, or along rivers in Africa, or in green valleys far away. Life became a little more settled, but the heart stayed the same. A woman bakes extra flatbread one morning. Her neighbor's husband is away helping build a bridge. The children are hungry, so she walks next door with 3 warm breads wrapped in a cloth. She sets them down and says, only for the little ones. The neighbor's wife smiles, eyes soft with thanks. She does not run to give something back immediately. She knows she will. Maybe next week when her own millet ripens, or when she spins extra wool for winter blankets. No one writes it down. No one says, you owe me 3 breads. But both women feel the quiet promise. Kindness given today will find its way back. In these villages, almost everything moved this way. A fisherman brings extra dried fish, gives he shares with families who helped him repair his net last month. A weaver finishes a strong basket, she gives it to the old grandmother whose own basket broke. A boy learns to climb trees for dates, he brings some down for the younger children who cannot reach yet. No prices, no haggling, just noticing who needs what, and giving when you can. Even bigger things worked like this. When a new house needed building, the whole village came. Men cut poles, women mixed mud, Children carried water in small pots. The family whose house it was cooked big pots of stew and tea. At sunset, everyone sat together, ate, laughed, sang. The new house stood because people gave their time and sweat. The family felt deep gratitude, and they knew that when another house needed building, they would be the first to arrive with tools and energy. What about strangers, or people from far away? When traders or visitors came from another valley, sometimes they did exchange things directly. Cloth for salt, beads for dried meat. That was barter, yes, but it happened mostly at the edges, between people who did not know each other well. Inside the village, inside the circle of people you saw every day, barter was rare. Giving and helping were normal. The famous barter story makes the past sound cold. Everyone calculating, everyone trying to get the best deal. But when you listen to old people who grew up in villages without much money, or read stories from groups who still live close to the old way, you hear something different. You hear warmth. You hear faces lighting up when someone arrives with extra food. You hear hands reaching to carry a heavy load for an elder. You hear children learning that sharing feels good inside, not because someone will pay them later, but because it makes everyone safer and happier. Today, many of us feel something missing. We have money, more than our grandparents ever dreamed. We can buy food from shops, clothes from markets, medicine from pharmacies, but we often feel alone even in crowds. We buy help, but we do not know the person who delivers it. We pay for care, but it ends when the money stops. We have things, but we miss the feeling of being known, seen, remembered. That quiet ache is the echo of the old way. The way where your neighbor knew when your child was teething and brought soft porridge without being asked. The way where you could be sick for a week and still eat because others brought what they could. The way where trust was not something you bought, it was something you grew together. So as this first part draws to a close, let it rest with you gently. Think about one person in your life right now. Maybe someone you see every day. Maybe someone you haven't spoken to in a while. What small thing could you give them tomorrow? Not money, not something expensive, just something from the heart. A kind word, a cup of tea carried to their door, a few minutes of real listening, a little help without being asked. Do it without expecting anything back right away. See how it feels in your own chest. That small warm feeling is very old. It remembers a time before money told us who we were and what we owed. We have only begun. In the parts ahead we will sit at great giving feasts, sail with shell gifts across wide seas, walk through ordinary days where sharing food and work held everyone close. We will feel what it was like to live inside those circles of trust. But for today, let this truth settle. The world ran beautifully, humanly, without coins or notes for most of history. People gave first, they remembered, they trusted, and because they did, they belonged to each other. Pause for a moment. Have you ever wondered why giving a gift feels so good? It's not just about the holiday season or birthday presents. Giving is a fundamental part of what makes us human, a tradition that stretches back thousands of years, long before money was ever invented. Today, we're going to explore the beautiful and profound history of gift-giving, uncovering ancient traditions that show us it's about much more than just the object itself. It's about connection, community, and the very fabric of society. Let's travel back in time to the islands of Melanesia in the South Pacific. Here, a fascinating tradition called the cooler ring has been practiced for centuries. Imagine a network of islands where men embark on dangerous canoe voyages, not for conquest or trade, but to exchange specific, ceremonial gifts. These aren't just any items. They are salva beautiful red shell necklaces and moily white shell armbands. The salva always travel clockwise around the ring of islands, while the moily travel counterclockwise. What's incredible is that these items have no practical use. You can't eat them or build a house with them. Their value is purely symbolic. A man might receive a famous necklace that has been passed down through generations, hold it for a few months or a year, and then he's obligated to pass it on to his partner on the next island. The goal isn't to accumulate these items, but to participate in the act of giving and receiving them. By doing so, they build lifelong relationships, trust, and mutual respect across a vast oceanic expanse. The cooler ring is a living testament to how gifts can weave people together, creating bonds stronger than any contract. It's a system built on generosity, where your status is determined not by what you own, but by what you give away. Now, let's journey to the Pacific Northwest of North America, to the indigenous cultures of the Kwakwakak people. Here, we find another powerful tradition of giving, known as the potlatch. A potlatch is a grand ceremony, a feast hosted by a chief to celebrate a significant event like a marriage, a birth, or the naming of an heir. But this is no ordinary party. The host's primary goal is to give away their wealth, sometimes everything they own. They would distribute blankets, canoes, carvings, and food to their guests. To an outsider, this might seem baffling. Why would someone work so hard just to give everything away? Because in this culture, wealth isn't measured by what you keep, but by the scale of your generosity. By giving lavishly, a chief demonstrates their power, their influence, and their concern for their community. It was a sophisticated social system that ensured resources were redistributed. If one village had a poor harvest, they could attend a potlatch in a more prosperous village and receive what they needed to survive. The potlatch wasn't about destroying wealth. It was about transforming it into social honor and collective well-being. It bound communities together in a cycle of reciprocity, where today's guest might be tomorrow's host. Our final stop takes us to the highlands of Papua New Guinea, home to a practice called the mocha. The mocha is another elaborate system of ceremonial exchange, but with a unique twist. It's a highly competitive form of giving. A big man, a local leader, organizes a massive mocha ceremony where he gives a huge gift, primarily pigs and rare shells, to another leader. The gift is a public declaration of his status and influence. The recipient is then under immense pressure to not just repay the gift, but to exceed it. This creates a cycle of escalating generosity. The planning for a mocha can take years. The big man has to call in all his debts and use his social skills to persuade his relatives and allies to contribute to the gift. It's a complex political and economic effort. The climax is the ceremony itself, where hundreds of pigs are paraded before being given away. The speech given by the host is just as important as the gift, as he recounts his efforts and proclaims his success. The mocha shows us that giving can be a powerful engine for social ambition, but it's an ambition channeled into generosity, not hoarding. To be a great leader, you had to be a great giver. So, what do these ancient traditions, the kula, the potlatch, and the mocha teach us today? In a world dominated by capitalism and consumer culture, they remind us that the act of giving is deeply ingrained in our nature. For most of human history, our economies were gift economies. They were built on relationships, not transactions. The goal was to strengthen social bonds, not just accumulate personal profit. These traditions challenge our modern definition of wealth. Is wealth really about the number in your bank account, or is it about the richness of your relationships and your contribution to your community? These cultures understood that true security comes from having a strong network of people you can rely on, people you are connected to through mutual obligation and care. The gift was the thread that wove this safety net. When you give a gift, you are doing more than just handing over an object. You are sending a message. You are saying, I see you, I value you, I am connected to you. This is why a handmade card can mean more than an expensive gadget, or why a thoughtful act of service can be the greatest gift of all. The object itself is just a symbol of the relationship it represents. In our daily lives, we can see echoes of these ancient practices everywhere. We bring a bottle of wine to a dinner party. We help a friend move. We volunteer our time for a cause we believe in. These are all modern forms of the gift economy. They are small acts that strengthen the bonds between us, creating a more compassionate and connected world. Perhaps the most important lesson from these traditions is that generosity is a renewable resource. The more you give, the more you receive, not necessarily in material goods, but in trust, in friendship, in community, and in the deep, personal satisfaction of having made a positive impact on someone else's life. The kula ring never stops turning. The potlatch feast provides for everyone, and the mocha gift is always returned with interest. Generosity creates a positive cycle that enriches everyone involved. So the next time you give a gift, take a moment to think about the long, beautiful history behind that simple act. You are participating in an ancient human tradition, a ritual that has bound families, communities, and cultures together for millennia. You are not just giving a thing, you are strengthening a connection. And in a world that can sometimes feel disconnected, that is perhaps the most valuable gift of all. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed this exploration, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more stories about the fascinating threads that connect us all. Stay curious and keep giving. Have you ever wondered what life was like before money? Before price tags and paychecks? It's easy to imagine a world of simple barter, trading a sack of potatoes for a pair of shoes. But the reality, in many traditional societies, was something far more beautiful, far more human. It was built not on transactions, but on relationships. It was a world woven together by what we might call the circle of giving. Imagine a small, close-knit village nestled in a valley. Here, your wealth isn't measured by what you own, but by the strength of your connections to others. Your security doesn't come from a locked vault, but from the unspoken promise that your neighbors have your back. This wasn't a formal system. It was the very air they breathed. It was a culture of generosity, where the act of giving was its own reward. Think about it this way. A hunter returns with a large catch, more than his family can eat before it spoils. Does he try to sell it? No, he shares it. A portion goes to the family who helped him track the animal, another to the elder who taught him to read the forest's signs. He gives some to the new parents down the path, who are too busy to hunt, and a piece to the family whose own hunt was unsuccessful. He doesn't keep a tally. He doesn't expect an immediate payment. He simply gives. Why? Because he knows the circle will complete itself. Next week, his own family might run low on firewood, and the neighbor he shared his meat with, without a word, will leave a stack of dry logs by his door. The woman whose child he watched for an afternoon might return the favor by mending his hunting gear. The elder he honored might one day share a vital piece of wisdom that saves him from danger. It's a continuous, flowing exchange of care. This wasn't about charity as we know it today, a one-way street from the haves to the have-nots. It was a web of mutual support. Everyone was both a giver and a receiver. Everyone contributed what they could, when they could. One person might be skilled at making tools, another at telling stories that teach and entertain. One might have a knack for healing with herbs, another the strength to build a sturdy home. Each gift, no matter how small, added a thread to the strong, resilient fabric of the community. When you gave a gift, you weren't just giving an object, you were giving respect, you were giving gratitude, you were strengthening a bond. Receiving a gift came with a gentle, implicit understanding. One day, you too would pass a kindness along, not necessarily back to the person who gave it to you, but to someone else in the circle who needed it. This created a profound sense of belonging and collective responsibility. Your well-being was tied to my well-being, and ours was tied to the entire village. Let's picture a harvest. The whole village comes together. It's not about clocking in and getting paid. It's a celebration. People work, laugh, and sing together. The food they gather is shared amongst everyone. The family whose field it is doesn't hoard the bounty. They host a feast, a grand expression of gratitude for the community's help and the land's generosity. In this act, they reinforce the idea that the earth's gifts are for everyone, and that together, they can create abundance that no single person could achieve alone. This way of life fostered an incredible sense of security. Imagine not having to worry about losing your job or facing a crisis alone. If your home was damaged in a storm, the community would be there the next day, hammers and hands ready to rebuild. If you fell ill, neighbors would bring food, tend to your children, and care for your animals until you were back on your feet. This wasn't an insurance policy you paid for. It was the natural response of a group of people who saw themselves as one large, extended family. The focus wasn't on accumulating personal wealth. In fact, in some cultures, hoarding resources was seen as deeply shameful. A person's status grew not by how much they kept, but by how much they gave away. The most respected leaders were often the most generous, constantly redistributing goods and ensuring that everyone in the community was cared for. Their power came from the goodwill and trust they earned through their open-handedness. This system also cultivated a deep respect for the skills and contributions of every individual. The master storyteller was as valued as the strongest warrior. The gentle hands that could weave a waterproof basket were as essential as the sharp eyes that could spot game from a mile away. There was an understanding that a healthy community needed all kinds of talents to thrive. Everyone had a place, a purpose, a gift to offer. And what about those who couldn't contribute in a physical way though, very old or the infirm? They were not seen as burdens. They were the keepers of wisdom, the living libraries of the community's history and traditions. They were cared for with tenderness and respect, not out of obligation, but out of love and a recognition of their past and present value. Their presence was a gift in itself, a reminder of the journey of life and the importance of every stage. Of course, this isn't to romanticize the past or suggest we can simply turn back the clock. Our modern world is vastly more complex. But there's a profound lesson in the circle of giving. It reminds us that our true wealth lies in our relationships, It challenges us to think beyond the transaction and to see the humanity in every exchange. Even today, we see echoes of this circle all around us. When a neighbor lends you a cup of sugar, when a friend helps you move, when you volunteer your time for a cause you believe in, when you offer a listening ear to someone who is struggling, these are all acts that strengthen our modern-day tribes. They are small, powerful reminders that we are all connected. Perhaps the greatest takeaway is this: generosity creates more generosity. Kindness is contagious. When we give freely, without expecting anything in return, we don't just help one person. We contribute to a culture of care. We inspire others to pay it forward, creating ripples of goodwill that spread far beyond our initial act. So, the next time you have an opportunity to help, to share, to give of your time or your talent, remember the circle. Remember that you're not just performing a single action. You are weaving a thread into the fabric of your community. You are honoring an ancient human tradition that says, I see you, you matter, we are in this together, and in doing so, you help keep that beautiful, life-affirming circle turning. What if I told you that in some societies, the best way to become powerful isn't by hoarding wealth, but by giving it all away? It sounds counterintuitive, right? We're often taught that accumulating more stuff means more status. But today, we're going to journey across the globe to explore 3 fascinating cultural practices that completely flip this idea on its head. The potlatch of the Pacific Northwest, the cooler ring of the Trobriand Islands, and the mocha exchange of Papua New Guinea. These aren't just parties, they're complex systems of big giving that build alliances, create social status, and maintain peace, all through the power of generosity. So, get ready to rethink everything you thought you knew about wealth and power. Let's start our journey in the lush, temperate rainforests of the Pacific Northwest, home to indigenous peoples like the Kwakwaka'wakw, Tlingit, and Haida. Here, for centuries, a spectacular ceremony known as the potlatch has been the cornerstone of social and political life. The word potlatch comes from the Chinook jargon, meaning to give away, and boy, did they give. A potlatch is a lavish feast and gift-giving ceremony hosted by a chief or a high-ranking family to celebrate major life events: a birth, a marriage, a death, or the raising of a totem pole. Imagine this: a grand feast hall filled with people from neighboring villages. The air is thick with the smell of roasting salmon and the sound of rhythmic drumming and singing. The host, a powerful chief, stands before his guests, surrounded by mountains of wealth. We're talking about blankets, canoes, copper shields, animal furs, and food. Then, over several days, he proceeds to give it all away. The more he gives, the higher his status soars. The most esteemed guests, rival chiefs, receive the most valuable gifts. It's a public demonstration of the host's wealth, lineage, and spiritual power. By giving so generously, he's essentially saying, look how wealthy my family is. We can afford to give all this away and still have plenty left. But the potlatch was more than just a massive giveaway. It was a complex economic and legal system. It validated a host's claims to titles, territories, and privileges. When a chief gave a gift, the recipient was obligated to accept it and, in the future, host their own potlatch to give back an even more valuable gift. This created a cycle of reciprocal debt and obligation that bound communities together. Sometimes, the competition got so intense that hosts would destroy their most valuable possessions, smashing precious copper shields or burning piles of valuable oil justs to show they were so rich they could literally afford to burn their wealth. This act of destruction was the ultimate power move, a way of shaming a rival who couldn't match such Tragically, the Canadian and US governments misunderstood and feared the potlatch. They saw it as wasteful, anti-capitalist, and a barrier to assimilation. In 1885, Canada banned the potlatch, and the US followed suit. For decades, these vibrant ceremonies were forced underground. People were arrested, and their ceremonial regalia confiscated. It wasn't until 1951 that the ban was lifted. Today, indigenous communities are revitalizing the potlatch, adapting it to modern times, while honoring its ancient spirit of generosity and community. Now, let's sail across the Pacific Ocean to the Trobriand Islands, off the eastern coast of New Guinea. Here, we find another incredible system of exchange, known as the cooler ring, described in detail by the famous anthropologist, Bronisław Malinowski. The cooler is a vast, ceremonial exchange network that connects dozens of islands and thousands of people. Unlike the potlatch, the cooler exchange isn't about everyday goods. It revolves around two specific types of ceremonial items: red shell disc necklaces called saulava and white shell armbands called mo. Here's how it works. The saulava necklaces always travel clockwise through the ring of islands, while the morli armbands always travel counterclockwise. Men of high status will embark on long, often dangerous sea voyages in beautifully decorated canoes to visit their cooler partners on other islands. When they arrive, they exchange these ceremonial valuables. A man might receive a morli armband from his partner, hold on to it for a short time, and then pass it on to another partner further along the ring in exchange for a saulava necklace. What's fascinating is that these necklaces and armbands have no practical use. You can't wear them every day, and you can't eat them. Their value comes from their history. Each item has a name and a story, a list of famous men who have possessed it. The older and more storied an item is, the more valuable it becomes. Possessing a famous cooler item, even temporarily, brings a man immense prestige and fame. It's like owning a famous painting or a historical artifact. But the cooler is about so much more than just swapping shells. These exchanges are accompanied by elaborate rituals, magic, and feasting. And while the ceremonial items are being exchanged, a lot of other, more practical trade is happening on the side. Things like yams, pigs, pottery, and tools. The cooler partnerships create lifelong, peaceful relationships between men on different islands. It's a system that fosters trust and cooperation in a region where conflict could easily arise. It builds a social fabric that connects otherwise isolated communities, all through the ritualized circular journey of a few precious shells. For our final stop, we're heading inland to the highlands of Papua New Guinea, home to the Melpa people and their spectacular mocha exchange. Mocha is another form of competitive gift-giving, but with its own unique flavor. The ultimate goal in mocha is to become a big man, a highly respected and influential leader. And how do you do that? By giving more than you receive. Specifically in the form of pigs and rare shells. The mocha is a delayed system of exchange. A man might give a gift of, say, 10 pigs to his exchange partner. This puts the recipient in his debt. Now, the pressure is on for that recipient to not only repay the 10 pigs, but to add an increment, maybe giving back 15 pigs in a grand public ceremony. This cycle continues, with each exchange getting larger and larger. The mocha culminates in a huge festival where a big man, with the help of his supporters and kin, presents a massive gift to a rival group. Picture this: hundreds, sometimes thousands of pigs, decorated with paint and feathers, are lined up in a field. Alongside them might be cassowaries, money, and even trucks. The big man, dressed in elaborate ceremonial attire with feathers and paint, gives a long, boastful speech, recounting all the exchanges that led to this moment and highlighting his own generosity and skill. He's not just giving pigs. He's giving his reputation, his social standing, his very essence. The goal is to overwhelm his rivals with a gift so large they can't possibly repay it, thus making mocha and cementing his status as a powerful leader. Mocha is all about political maneuvering. A big man has to be a skilled orator, a savvy negotiator, and an expert organizer to persuade his relatives and allies to contribute their pigs to his cause. It's a system that converts wealth, in this case, pigs, into political power and social prestige. It redistributes resources throughout the community and helps manage relationships between different clans. While the mocha has changed with the introduction of cash and modern goods, the fundamental principle remains. In the highlands of New Guinea, the path to power is paved with pigs given away. So, from the potlatch of the northwest coast to the cooler ring of the Trabriand Islands and the mocha of New Guinea, we see a powerful, recurring human theme. These great giving ceremonies show us that wealth isn't just about what you have, but what you do with it. In these societies, generosity is the ultimate currency. Giving creates relationships, validates status, and builds communities. It's a profound reminder that the logic of accumulation isn't the only way to structure a society. In fact, sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is to give it all away. What do you think? Could our modern societies learn something from these traditions? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey into different cultures, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more adventures. See you next time. Have you ever wondered what life would be like without money? Not in a post-apocalyptic, fighting for scraps kind of way, but in a world where we simply didn't need it, where community and sharing were the real currency. Let's spend a day in that world together. Imagine waking up, not to the blare of an alarm clock signaling another day at a job you have to do, but to the gentle morning light filtering through your window. There's no pressure, no rush to earn a living. Instead, the first thought is, what can I contribute today? How can I help my community? Let's say my passion is baking. I head to the community kitchen, not a workplace, but a hub of creativity. The flour, yeast, and salt are all there, grown and milled by farmers in our network who love working the land. I don't pay for these ingredients. They're a shared resource. My contribution is my skill and my time, turning these simple elements into warm, crusty loaves of bread. The aroma fills the air, and it's a signal to everyone that fresh bread is ready. As I'm kneading the dough, my friend Sarah, a talented carpenter, stops by. She's not here to buy bread. She's here to chat, to see how I am. She mentions the shelf in my living room is looking a bit wobbly. I'll swing by after I finish the new benches for the park, she says with a smile. It's not a transaction. It's a simple act of care. Her payment is the satisfaction of using her skills to make someone's life a little better, a little safer. Later, I take a basket of fresh bread down to the town square. People gather, not to shop, but to connect. Old Man Hemlock is there, telling stories to a group of children. He's our community's historian, our living library. His contribution is wisdom and memory. The children listen, their eyes wide. This is their education, learning from the experiences of their elders. Someone has set up a needs and offers board. It's beautifully simple. On one side, people post what they need: help with gardening, looking for a babysitter for Tuesday evening, my bike has a flat tire. On the other side, people post what they can offer. I can teach you how to play the guitar, extra tomatoes from my garden, storytelling session at the library at 6 p.m. There's no price tag, no negotiation. You just see a need you can fill, and you fill it. You see an offer that interests you, and you take part. My son's shoes are getting tight. Instead of going to a store, we head to the community exchange hub. It's a beautifully organized space filled with clothes, tools, books, toys, all things that people no longer need but are still perfectly good. We find a sturdy pair of shoes that someone else's child has outgrown. In return, we leave his old pair, which are still in great shape for a smaller child. We also drop off a few books he's finished reading. The system works because everyone gives what they can and takes only what they need. It's a cycle of use and reuse, a complete rejection of a throwaway culture. For lunch, we all gather at the community dining hall. Today, Marco and his team are cooking. Marco's passion is culinary arts, and he travels to different communities to learn and share recipes. Today's meal is a delicious stew made from vegetables harvested this morning from the community garden. We all eat together, carpenters, artists, teachers, healers. The conversation flows freely. We talk about projects, share ideas, and simply enjoy each other's company. This is the heart of our society, the shared meal, the shared conversation. In the afternoon, I decide I want to learn something new. I check the board and see that David is holding a workshop on pottery. I've always wanted to try it. I join a small group, and David, with incredible patience and passion, guides us as we learn to shape clay on the wheel. My first few attempts are wobbly messes, and we all laugh together. There's no fear of failure, no pressure to be perfect. The goal isn't to create a product to sell. It's the joy of learning, of creating with my hands. The pot I finally make isn't perfect, but it's mine, a symbol of a new skill learned. What about healthcare? If you get sick, you visit the wellness center. The doctors and nurses there aren't motivated by salaries. They're driven by a deep-seated desire to heal and care for others. This is their calling, their contribution. Your health isn't a commodity, it's a community priority. They focus on preventative care, on nutrition, on mental well-being, because a healthy individual contributes to a healthy society. As evening falls, the community gathers in the park. Sarah is there, admiring the new benches she and her team installed. They're beautiful, smooth, and perfectly placed for watching the sunset. An impromptu concert starts up. A few people who love music have brought their instruments. There's no stage, no tickets, just music under the stars. We share stories, we sing, we dance. Think about the problems that just disappear in this world. There's no poverty, because everyone's basic needs are met. There's no financial stress, no debt. There's no soul-crushing 9-to-5 job you hate, just to pay the bills. Instead, your work is your passion, your contribution. Your value isn't measured by your bank account, but by your kindness, your skills, and your willingness to help others. Crime rates would plummet. What is there to steal when you can just ask for what you need and someone will help you? The environmental impact would be drastically reduced. We're not driven by constant consumption and the need to buy the latest new thing. We repair, we reuse, we share. We value things for their utility and beauty, not their price tag. Of course, this isn't a perfect utopia. We'd still have disagreements. We'd still have challenges. We are human, after all. But the foundation of our society would be different. It would be built on trust, cooperation, and the understanding that we are all in this together. Our instinct to help, to share, to connect, which is so often buried under layers of economic pressure, would be our guiding principle. As I walk home under the starry sky, full from a good meal and good company, my son's hand in mine, I don't feel rich in the way we think of it now. I don't have a big bank account or a fancy car, but I feel a different kind of wealth. A wealth of community, of connection, of purpose. A wealth of time, free to spend it, learning, creating, and just being with the people I love. It's a world where your worth is inherent, not earned. A world where the question isn't, what can I get, but what can I give? It might seem like a distant dream, but maybe, just maybe, by bringing a little more, sharing a little more community, and a little less transaction into our own lives, we can get a small taste of that world, right here, right now. Thanks for spending this day with me. What do you think? What would be your contribution in a world without money? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like and subscribe for more explorations of big ideas. See you next time. The January air has turned cool and crisp. The sky above the hills is changing from pale blue to deep indigo, and the first stars are just beginning to appear. You might be sitting on a charpoy outside, wrapped in a shawl, listening to the distant call of a muezzin, or the soft sounds of neighbors finishing their day. A cup of chai steams in your hands. The phone is nearby, but for these few minutes it is quiet. The day has carried its usual weight, work, messages, worries about tomorrow. But right now, in this small pocket of stillness, let everything slow down. Let us sit together one last time and look back at the long, gentle path we have walked through these 6 parts. We started with a question that felt almost shocking at first. What if the story we were all taught about how people lived and traded before money was not the full truth? We saw that for hundreds of thousands of years, most humans did not barter everything in cold, exact swaps. They gave first. They shared without keeping strict score. They helped because they noticed, remembered, and trusted. We sat by small fires where honey was passed hand to hand, and no one took more than they needed. We walked village paths where a neighbor brought milk for a sick child without being asked. We sailed wide oceans with red shell necklaces that moved in slow circles, tying islands and families together across generations. We watched great feasts where blankets, canoes, pigs, and copper shields were given away in joyful waves, not to lose wealth, but to gain something far more lasting: respect, alliance, belonging, safety. We felt how strong those circles were, how a community could face hunger, sickness, storm, or sorrow, because everyone knew help would come when needed, not because of a contract written on paper, but because kindness given was kindness remembered. Children grew up inside that warmth. They learned early that sharing made them bigger inside, not smaller. Elders were cared for because they had cared before. No one stood alone for long. Now bring your eyes back to today, January 26, 2026. Money has changed so much. It lets us buy food from distant farms, clothes from factories across the sea, medicine that saves lives in hours. It gives us speed, choice, comfort our grandparents could barely imagine. We can order anything with a tap on a screen. We can send money to family far away in seconds. These are real gifts of our time. But something quiet has slipped away with all that speed and convenience. We pay, and the moment ends. The shopkeeper does not know our child's name. The delivery rider does not ask how we are feeling. Help arrives, but it stops when the payment clears. We have more things in our homes, but often we feel more separate from the people around us. Neighbors become faces we wave to once in a while. Children grow up mostly inside their own walls, held mostly by their own parents. Food comes in packets, not from hands we recognize. We have bank balances, insurance, savings apps, yet many of us still lie awake, sometimes wondering, who would notice if I was struggling? Who would sit with me if the night felt too long? Who would bring soup just because they heard my cough? That small, quiet ache is the echo of the old circles we used to live inside. The good news, the hopeful, beautiful news is that those circles are not gone forever. Pieces of them are still alive all around us, even in 2026. They hide in plain sight. The friend who messages thinking of you on a hard day without being asked. The group of neighbors who collect food and clothes after someone loses their home in a flood. The blood donated freely at camps, no payment expected. The open source code shared online so anyone can use it. The time given at a local cleanup or tree planting day. The auntie who still brings a plate of biryani to a new family next door just because. These are small revivals of the old way. They remind us that giving without immediate return still feels good. It still builds something real. It still makes us feel less alone. We do not need to throw away money or move back to mud houses to touch that warmth again. We can start exactly where we are in Abbottabad, in our own homes, with the people we already see every day. One small open hand at a time. One remembered kindness at a time. The circle can begin again with you, right now. So here is my gentle but strong invitation, my heartfelt call to you. Tomorrow morning, when you open your eyes, look around your own small world. Who is nearby? Who crosses your path regularly? A neighbor who always says salam but never talks long. A colleague who has seemed tired lately. A cousin who has been quiet. A shopkeeper who smiles every time you come. An elderly person walking slowly with a heavy bag. Do one small thing without waiting for anything back right away. Cook a little extra food, one more roti, one more bowl of dal, and carry it to someone. Send a simple message, just checking how you are today, and mean it. Stay if they want to talk. Offer help without being asked. Carry a bag, watch a child for half an hour. Sit with someone who looks lonely. Share something small, you have extra fruit from the market, a book you finished, a moment of real listening. Start a tiny circle. Tell one person, if you ever need anything, even small. Just say then, follow through when the moment comes. Do not do it for praise or reward. Do it because it feels right in your chest. Do it because somewhere deep inside, a very old part of you remembers how good it feels to belong to something bigger than yourself. And when that small warmth spreads, when you see a surprised smile, when someone says thank you with shining eyes, when you sleep a little easier knowing you helped notice it, hold it close, let it grow. If even a tiny spark lights inside you from this series, I ask you 3 simple things. 1. Like this video right now. It helps these quiet stories reach more people who might need them. 2. Share this series with one person, a friend, a family member, someone who feels the same quiet longing for closer days. Just send the link and say, "This made me think." 3. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so we can keep walking these gentle old new paths together. There are so many more stories waiting. Nights by firelight, journeys on foot, lives guided by rivers and moon. We will keep telling them slowly, honestly, with heart. We do not have to live exactly as they did long ago, but we can remember. We can choose small moments of giving over distance. We can make our own time feel a little more like home. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for walking all 6 parts with me. Thank you for listening with open ears and open heart. May your hands stay soft. May your circles keep turning. May you always feel the quiet strength of being remembered and cared for. Go give something small tomorrow. Watch what happens, and I will see you in the next story. Until then, keep your heart open. It remembers the way.